This is the sound of your ride home with Dad after he caught you vaping. Awkward, isn't it? Most vapes contain seriously addictive levels of nicotine and disappointment. Know the real cost of vapes. Brought to you by the FDA.
It's Croctober, the official celebration of Crocs fans like you. So whether you like to rock your classic clogs, get cozy and fuss-lined, personalize with your favorite Jibbitz charms, or even, dress up like a clog for Halloween, it's time to tell your story and share your style. Join the Croctober celebration with Crocs fans around the world. Go to crocs.com to discover the range of shoes and find a pair that's iconic like you. Crocs, celebrating you all month long.
1, 2, 3, 4. Monster movie.
Fun time, go! Monster movie.
Fun time, go. Monster
Movie.
Fun time.
Go!
Monster movie. Fun time, go.
With Precious D and Honeybee.
Fun time, go!
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends and neighbors, welcome to Monster Movie Fun Time Go. 31 Days of the Dead. Day 30. I am your host, Precious D, and with me once again is my brother, Gabriel. Welcome back.
Thank you. How's everybody doing out there in Radio Land? Podcast land?
I just want to apologize to Gabriel and to everybody listening for today's selection. Pro Wrestlers versus Zombies, also known as Cody Knott's Pro Wrestlers versus Zombies. I picked this, Gabe, because you've been watching a lot of wrestling lately.
Yes. I've got, at various points in my life, I'll get back on wrestling and then back off. And I've definitely been watching a lot lately. And in theory, was excited about this film.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Roddy Piper fan.
Yep.
He was great. He was definitely the best part.
I wanted to start off by saying,
this
God
movie.
bless Roddy Piper.
Yeah, I mean, he showed up and he continued working.
The thing is,
God,
I knew this wasn't going to be
dang,
any.
it was.
I knew this would be no masterpiece.
Well,
but this is in the running for the worst movie we've watched, up there with Reptosaurus.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the worst thing I've seen in a long. And I always say it. I hate trashing people's artistic work. That somebody cared about this a lot. Mm-hmm. A lot of people put a lot of hard work, a lot of time into it. God bless them all. But the script was just terrible. The budget was terrible.
The script was nonsense.
Yeah, I think it was like, okay, this is who can show up today. We had Kurt Angle, right?
Yeah.
He shows up. They say, oh, bring him in through the side door.
Yeah.
Clearly, it seems like they only got him under contract for one day.
That's what I thought at first, but
because we never see him again.
No, we see him he comes back as a zombie.
Right.
So
but that's still within the first
right. No,
2
I think
minutes of that. He comes in, he wrestles a bit, and then he's gone.
Well, according to Wikipedia, he spent 5 hours in the makeup chair for the zombie scene.
Okay.
And he enjoyed. It said he enjoyed it. I don't know if he meant the makeup, the 5 hours in the chair, or just the whole process of the makeup and then the wrestling.
Right.
And he was pleased to find that a lot of the zombie extras were wrestlers, so he could do his moves on them.
Yeah, well, because they're all, when he first starts fighting zombies, they're all in wrestling gear.
Yeah.
Even though there weren't that many wrestlers.
It's just nonsense. Okay.
Who
Before
came in the bus.
This movie was partly funded through a Kickstarter.
Okay.
So regular Joe Schmoes contributed money to this thing.
They had Hacksaw Jim Duggan, they had Matt Hardy.
They did.
Kurt Angle.
Oh,
of course,
it
Piper.
had 65 backers, but raised $30,026 of a $30,000 goal. So they just barely made their goal.
Well, that might have been an angel investor coming in with 10 grand at the last minute so they could still get the money type thing.
Some of the reward, I mean, most of it was like there's a $5, 10, 25, 50, 100. One backer at 200. Nobody chose the 500 reward. One backer at 750. Two backers at 2,500. One backer at 5,000. One backer at 10,000.
Does it say their name?
They no, but so that was, if you're not familiar with Kickstarters, folks, usually there's multiple levels and you'll get different things. Like the lowest one is you get a bumper sticker.
Right.
$25 you get a DVD with some autographs on it. 10,000 you get all of the above plus dinner with the cast and producers as their honored guest. The most red carpet treatment to everything.
I mean, if I had a bunch of money laying around, just to have dinner with Roddy Piper and Hacksaw Jim Duggan would have been cool. But,
yeah, but oof.
Well, there.
Okay, let's do some stats before we.
I just finished watching this, and I'm so
You're
exhausted. I watched the first 5 minutes of Monday Night Raw, and it kind of cleansed
your palate,
my wrestling palate, and be like, okay, yes, this isn't all.
So it's directed and written by Cody Knotts. Are you familiar with him at all?
No, but I noticed that in the beginning it said Lloyd Kaufman and Troma.
Yes,
so did they just pick it up to distribute it?
Yes, they just distributed it. They did not.
Because that gave me hope when I saw it. Like, okay, Troma.
Oh, did it?
Dude, Tromeo and Juliet's great. It's terrible, but it's great.
Right. No, as soon as I saw Troma, I was like, oh no.
Right.
This is not going to be good.
No, but they're known for, and I haven't seen all their films, but I've just existed enough to know people really love Troma films.
Yes,
and even when they're bad, they're so bad that they're good. Or
did you go with me to that Times Square? Were you living in New York yet?
I don't know.
The movie day thing in Times Square?
Was this something to do with Troma?
Troma was there. No,
I don't think I did.
This was amazing. They acted like this was going to be an annual thing. I don't think it ever happened again. It was sort of like a street fair for movies.
Okay, that sounds cool.
I got Michelle Track.
So it was kind of like a convention, but it was in a park?
Right, it was in Times Square.
Okay.
They just, they shut down.
So it was just outdoors?
Yeah, it was a lot of tables, booths.
Oh.
And there was like a little bit of a parade because I remember seeing Troma go by.
Okay.
So Michelle Trachtenberg had Harriet the Spy coming out. She was there signing posters. Somewhere I have an autographed poster of Michelle Trachtenberg.
Okay.
The Phantom was coming out that summer.
Mm-hmm.
I got a Phantom poster and a Phantom ring and a T-shirt that's too small for me, but I still have it.
Right.
And Troma was there, and just anybody that had a movie coming out that year was at least had a table. They didn't all have an actual star of the movie there,
right?
But they were all there, and also Troma was there. So
yeah, that sounds pretty cool. I wonder why that didn't continue.
Yeah,
but yeah, so I had some hopes that okay, this might be so bad it's good. But it just wasn't.
It was
so incoherent with their location.
Oh my God! Well, hold on. Let me. So Cody Knotts was the director and writer. Troma was the distributor. The cast. Most of these people are as themselves. Roddy Piper, Shane Douglas, Kurt Angle, Matt Hardy, Jim Duggan. Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Who Roddy calls by his actual name at one point.
He just calls him Jim?
No, he calls him Ed.
Okay.
James Edward Duggan Jr. So he probably went by Ed because his father went by James. So probably growing up he went by Ed.
Right.
And Roddy calls. I just noticed that. It was a nice little detail. But it might have also just been Roddy just calling him what he usually calls him.
Right. And breaking character.
Taya Parker, Rebby Sky, those are all playing themselves. Then we have Adrienne Fisher as Sarah, Richard John Walters as Tezcatlipoca. I guess that was the sort of weird ghost demon guy.
Yeah, I don't. There was never clear anyone's names. I don't know which one Sarah was. Was that the nurse that got kidnapped?
No.
Was that the girl who wanted to be their PR agent?
Yeah, that's the weird woman in white, redheaded
Right.
woman in white,
Okay.
who apparently is not anybody, but they were making her. They were acting as if she was somebody.
Right.
Richard John Walters. Oh no, I said him already. Shannon M. Hart as Serena, Ashton Amherst as Angus, Camara, Bartolotta as Amber, Cody Michaels as Troy, Sylvester Turkey as himself, Cody Knotts as himself, Michael Chikowitz as Facade, which is his wrestling name. He's an indie wrestler apparently. Who the hell is supposed to be the protagonist in this movie?
Yeah, I don't.
Because
Shane seemed to be the main character.
Right. It's
and he
all
was
about- it's all
an
because of
absolute
him.
asshole
yeah,
that I had no sympathy for and did not care about.
and he doesn't make it.
He
to the
kept
end.
going back and forth on whether he did kill him or didn't kill him.
Yeah, yeah.
Whether it was intentional or whether it was an accident. So it seemed like Roddy, because they get the kiss at the end, which was weird. Because I kept, through the whole thing, is he being a father figure to her or is he being a romantic figure? And it kept
The plot.
going back, and that might have just been his natural
The-
reaction
the-
to this younger woman.
The plot synopsis calls her his girlfriend, but that's not how they act. They act like they've just met.
Right.
It
When
says-
she sits down on the bus.
Yeah. And what was?
But he was trying to like protect her and look out for her.
okay.
But
so
he gets mad at the girl for throwing water in her face.
yeah,
But he didn't give a shit that Shane Douglas just threw this girl on the floor in the first place.
yeah. Okay, so it opens with, well, it opens with this quote where like the ring is the only place where you can kill a man and get away with it. Or
Yeah.
murder a man and get away with it.
I mean, wrestlers have died in the ring.
Yeah, boxers have died in the ring.
Right. That's true.
So there's a match with this guy who is not even listed in the credits and apparently is not a real person playing himself. Brutalizer Billy. Apparently he's fooling around. This is not clear what was happening in the beginning. Shane Douglas, the franchise, stupid name by the way.
Right.
This is his real wrestling name, I guess.
I don't know.
They were sure.
I mean, I know who he is, but I don't remember.
Some of them have.
That was in one of the eras when I wasn't
Right.
watching as much.
Yeah, I mean, some of these guys have used multiple names over the years, but
Well, yeah, because if you WWE tends to trademark
yeah,
your name when you come in,
Yeah.
or give you a new name so that they can trademark it.
yeah,
Most of those guys don't own their names. So when they go to AEW or back in the day WCW, they then have to come up with a second. And there's guys who have like 3 or 4 names depending on where they're at.
yeah. Oh, also, some of the funding, it wasn't all Kickstarters. So, there was 3 investors and stars, including former WWE and current TNA wrestlers that portray themselves. It sounded like some of the people in the film helped finance it.
Right.
Although whether that was something formal or that was just them picking up the tab here and there.
Sure.
Anyway, this guy, franchise, sees his girlfriend making out with this guy in the locker room, which is just dumb that they'd be that indiscreet.
Right.
Because it's the wrestler's locker room. He's gonna come
Well,
in.
and then he makes eye contact with him
Yeah.
and then goes into the ring with him.
Yeah,
Which, yeah, that's
and
kind
then
of a
does a pile driver on him and it kills him.
tombstone.
A tombstone. Is that
He
different
says
from
later that he did. I mean, that they're, variations of a similar.
Yes.
Tombstone is the move that Undertaker made famous.
Okay.
But later, it was either Hacksaw or Rowdy Piper who said to him something about giving him the tombstone.
Okay. It describes it here as a pile driver. But anyway, his head's between his legs and he drops him on his head.
Right.
And apparently the guy didn't tuck his head like he should. And it breaks
Well,
him.
that's what Hacksaw claims. But then later he goes, no, I did kill him. And
Yeah.
at multiple points, he implied he did do it on purpose.
Right. So, who knows? But this causes the guy's brother to swear revenge,
Right.
Who
I
is-
can understand that.
who is Irish, but is not. I saw one comment on IMDb or something. It was like, wow, that guy was great. I didn't know he could do an Irish accent. He doesn't do the accent. It's dubbed over.
Oh, wow.
Somebody else is listed as the voice of that of Angus. So to get revenge, this guy arranges for a private wrestling match at a prison because they had access to a prison to make the movie.
Right. And
An
obviously,
abandoned
somehow-
prison?
Yeah. Somehow they got permission, and they're like, I mean, it's good value. There's a better word, production value,
Yeah.
to have a prison. Why not? So, yeah, that got worked into the script for no real
Right.
reason whatsoever. But, okay, you're in a prison. Lock them in there with the zombies and let them
Yeah.
get your revenge. Why are there so many open doors and hatches and...
So these are also these are a combination of voodoo zombies and Romero zombies.
Right.
In that the guys used voodoo to create these zombies, but they are flesh-eating monsters. They're not just mindless
But it's...
slaves.
Yes, it's voodoo for a while, but then once they bite someone, they also become
Yeah. Yeah.
zombies. So they're doing both.
Yes. Yeah. So this guy makes some kind of deal with a demon that's never explained through a
But-
human sacrifice.
Right, but the demon was also his brother, it seemed.
This was all unclear.
Right. Well, yeah.
And then arranges, so he creates zombies and then arranges to pay this. Oh God. He's offering what's supposed to be a shit ton of money for this deal,
Right.
but it looked like it was a
couple thousand?
Yeah. Yeah. It looked like it was 5,000 at the most.
Right. He's like, for this kind of money, I can get you...
Yeah. Yeah. He was like, oh, I can add this person and that person. I'll
Right.
even get you the Olympian Kurt Angle. And I'm like, that's $10,000 at the most.
Right.
That you it's
I
just
mean,
such
if they
a
were all
simple
$100 bills,
it's such
sure,
a
it could've
simple that's what I'm saying. Each little packet looked like it was only maybe $1,000 and there was maybe 4 or 5
Okay.
little bundles, but it's such an easy prop to make.
Sure.
A suitcase full a briefcase full of money. It's
Right. You
easy-
only need 8 real bills to go on the top of it.
yeah.
Or
So
however many stacks you're going to do.
right. So he for some reason, because he wants revenge against the franchise, they arrange this big match with a whole bunch of other wrestlers instead of just luring him to this location where he can shoot him in the head.
Right.
He creates zombies, lures a whole bunch of other wrestlers there, and then more and more zombies keep getting created throughout the whole
Yeah, it's an abandoned,
prison.
yeah, but somehow just more and more zombies keep showing up
Yeah.
from out of nowhere.
And so this girl Sarah, she shows up wanting to be some kind of wanting to work for him as his PR person. She's
Right.
applied for a job.
And immediately he makes the sexual advances on her,
Right.
which she goes for.
Exactly.
And goes for another guy later.
Yeah. So I felt the same way. I'm like, wait, is she up to something? I kept expecting some kind of heel turn from her.
Right.
Like she
right.
was-
She was somehow... She was going to do anything to get in the program. No, she just wanted to be involved in wrestling that much, apparently.
Two sleazy guys put the moves on her, and we don't get any sort of a smart comeback or a knee in the balls or
No, just,
anything.
okay, let's
she
do
just
this.
goes out in the closet with that
Yeah.
one guy who wasn't offering her a job or anything. There was no reason.
She just said, oh, there's blood over here. And he goes, oh, it's corn syrup. Don't do that again. Like, okay, if you see something you think is blood, yes, you absolutely
Yeah.
point it out to people. Like, there was no need for it to be as big of an offense that required sexual favors to make up for.
Yeah. No, but it just seemed like she was into it. She made no sense.
No, she made
Because,
absolutely no sense. Because then she's the one who's like, come on, we got to get our shit together. But then she's the damsel in distress later.
Right.
She keeps going back and forth between, I'm
She also
tough
knows.
and independent to, oh, I need help.
She also knows where a locker full of weapons is in the shut down prison. Why is there baseball bats and crowbars and stuff just in this
I know,
locker?
oh, God. And so they kept escaping to one room, and then they would be in a group, and then all of a sudden there were 2 people on their own,
Mm-hmm.
and then they would be in a group again. Like, they kept losing, and then some just disappeared.
Yeah.
They never really died. There was no resolution. As far as I know, they're still in the hospital.
Right.
Or the- the
but
prison.
before they get to the prison, though, we get a little bit of time setting up franchise's family.
Right.
His brother or sister and they're
His brother, because he calls him his brother.
right. His brother, the wife,
And the kid.
a son.
And his mother.
Yes, his mother. Who I was thinking, are these all his actual relatives? Because they were not good actors.
Right. They very
But
well
they
could
weren't.
have been. Oh,
No,
they weren't? You looked it up?
according to the credits, they're not. And then we also get some stuff with the nurse getting killed and sacrificed, and then way too much time spent on the bus getting to the location and stopping.
Yeah, and just
people acting like assholes on the way there.
And if it's that big of a bus and you're gonna be making out with your girl, you're not sitting one seat in front of the other. You're gonna go get a thing at the back of the.
It was dumb. It was dumb and bad.
The whole thing was dumb and dead. Matt Hardy came across as an asshole. I like him. He's a really great wrestler.
Which one was he? He was Matt Hardy. But whatever.
He had He also was sitting making out with the girl on the bus, and then they were in the chapel making out when everyone comes running in, and they get caught.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, Rowdy's all yelling, "What are you doing, screwing around?" It's like, hey, the matches weren't happening yet.
Yeah.
Clearly, nothing was going on. Like,
Yeah.
that just made no sense for him to be upset about it. Yeah, there. Like the best scene in the whole thing. I'll give him one compliment.
Mm-hmm.
When Roddy Piper has to put down Jim Duggan.
Yeah.
It was a little bit of, the closest I got to emotion of any kind, other than hate and disgust, was that moment. It was a good heart. Even Duggan looking up at him like, I believed he was a zombie. Mm-hmm. I believe that Roddy didn't want to do it, but this is a friend. He's going to do it. But then they kind of implied that now somehow he knew that Shane had closed the door on Jim Duggan, which there was no evidence of that in any way.
No.
He goes back. Why did he even... They keep coming and going, and he locked him in this door.
Yeah, it's not clear where anything.
The geography was just so messed up.
It's nonsense. But as I said before, God bless Roddy Piper. By this time he's been in many movies. This is one of the last things.
Hell Comes to Frogtown.
They Live. But he's been in more things than you think. And this was probably... Yeah, he died in 2015, and this came out in 2013. So this is one of the last things he was in. But my point is, he's learned a little bit.
Right.
He was never going to win an Academy Award, but he's picked up a few things about making movies and acting.
Sure.
Being in so many things. And he is the best part of this movie.
Absolutely.
And if he
hadn't been in there, I don't know if I could have got all the way through.
And if they had just given him something to work with. Right. But he did the best he could with what he had.
I mean, I didn't feel that there was a script, really. Like, it felt like a lot of stuff was, okay, this is who could make it to the set today. Let's shoot a scene.
Yeah.
Especially with all the group, like I said, they were all together, then they were all split up, then they were back together again, then they were split up and on their own, and it just made no damn sense.
I would have... And also, just the whole premise. If you're mad at this guy, just go shoot him.
Right.
Why all this nonsense and dragging all these other people into it?
Yes.
That's not...
And, I mean, they would have him cornered, and he would have his army, and they would punch, and there would be, 20 zombies in there. They would punch 3, and then all of a sudden they're in a different room, and they're safe.
Yeah.
And, when they were running towards the flag, which was just so unnecessary. There was no reason...
To run up the hill towards the flag.
Yeah, that the flag
didn't
have any magical
right.
power. It wasn't a...
What are you talking about?
Amulet of protection.
Why do you hate America?
Right. It was like, okay, now we're going to throw in patriotism for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah. I was imagining the potential of a better movie with this same title.
Okay.
That you have... I mean, it would have probably had more of a budget, even though it wouldn't have been that... for, what is it? Monday Night Raw?
Yeah, Friday Night SmackDown.
All of these. You've got one of those arena shows going on. So, of course, you're going to have to hire a bunch of extras to fill the seats.
Right.
But there's one of those big arena shows going on, and the zombie outbreak happens. Mm-hmm. And that's just where it happens to start or begin to take off for whatever reason. And so then the wrestlers are caught in this quickly spreading arena full of
Right.
zombies,
And they
gotta,
could easily-
and they got to get out.
Sure.
And
Especially, if you made it a big pay-per-view. Now, okay, they haven't opened the doors yet, but it breaks out. So they're stuck in this venue, which is now surrounded.
Yeah.
Because you had all the people.
well, and
showing
I
up.
saw it happening like when the crowd's in there and it's
Right.
full, and it starts sort of spreading through and they're confused at first, and then they've got to make a run for it, and it may eventually get out of the arena.
Right.
But just because they got all the music and the fireworks and stuff, and you
Sure.
could have done all of that, and they're they do that every week. It costs a lot of money, but it brings in a lot of money. It just seems like somebody could have tied that into a thing that was going on already, and I don't
Right.
know. I could just imagine a much
Well,
better
I mean, this was
movie.
clearly not funded by WWE.
No.
I don't think any of those guys were wrestling with them at the time.
Right.
I'm surprised he was able to mention Hogan's name.
Well, he's a public figure, even though you can talk about him,
Right, I guess so.
and you can say Ed McMahon, Vince McMahon is a dick.
Okay, two parts that just... it's if you see a gun in the first act,
Yeah, Chekhov's gun.
Chekhov's gun, right, then you got to use it by the third act. Shane Douglas was saying to the promoter guy, I need money in hand when we get on the bus. And if I don't get my money, there's going to be a problem.
Right.
But we never see the promoter at the bus or see the promoter again. He's just
Right.
gone.
Yeah.
Made no sense to me. I was like, then why did that scene matter if we weren't going to see him, give him the money,
Yeah,
or
it's
not
just
have
padding.
the money and have to talk him into it?
Yeah. It's just padding.
Right, but it just pissed me off because why are we doing
Yeah,
this?
because they wrote the scene in isolation from the rest of the script.
Right. And then the Roddy Piper, first off, the guy's like, if you win, you'll be wealthy. When they're getting off the bus, the bus driver is pretty much like, okay, this is a regular wrestling match. We're going to throw you in the ring. If you win, you'll be wealthy, da-da-da-da-da. As if it's going to be, okay, you're in the ring and here's your zombie and you two are going to fight. You won, right? There was some implication of there were going to be actual matches.
Right.
And you would be rewarding for winning. None of that fucking happened.
Right.
But then also the thing with give me everyone's cell phones, which I get. Because otherwise people are like, well, why didn't they just call the cops? Why didn't they call the military?
Yeah.
But for Roddy Piper, be like, I don't have a phone. And they'd be like, and if I did have a phone, I wouldn't give it to you. You showed me.
Show me the phone.
Right. I mean, we didn't see the phone, but the phone was discussed. The phone was talked about.
Right.
I expected at some point for Roddy to pull out his phone and show that, yeah, I'm a badass. No one's taking my phone.
Right.
And try calling someone.
I just kind of...
And maybe he gets attacked right away and
Right.
he isn't able to call. The batteries are dead. Whatever. But it was that same type of thing of why... I don't need a scene to tell me that Roddy Piper is a badass.
Right.
I already know that.
Yeah,
and we're going into this.
Right. That's what they were trying to do.
He wasn't even... Right. And it wasn't even... like, okay, if you have a contract and you got to turn over your phones, then now you're just being an asshole.
Right.
And there was no reason.
Well,
I didn't need him to be an asshole.
I actually just believed that he didn't have a phone. I could believe that Roddy
Right,
Piper
sure.
he's like, I don't have...
I'm not carrying.
I'm old school. I don't need a phone.
Right.
I grew up without a phone. I don't need a phone.
And I mean that could have been. It just seemed pointless. I felt no need. Like many of the scenes in this film, there was just no need for them.
Yeah.
And I kept checking the time and being like, "Holy shit, this is only halfway through," and then like, "Okay, 30 more minutes, 20 more minutes." A good film. You're like, oh God, it's gonna be over soon, isn't it? I don't want it.
Yeah.
I never want to leave this universe. I want to stay with these characters forever and live with them. And no, God, I couldn't wait for it to end.
I have a few notes here. I wrote down, I hope I reboot. One of the guys, I don't remember which one.
Yeah, I didn't recognize him.
As he
and
was
a
getting,
wrestler.
as he
kept
was
saying
getting
reboot.
killed, he seemed to think he was in a video game.
Right.
And as he was getting killed, he was like, "Oh, I hope I reboot." I just thought that was
Oh, I
funny.
didn't hear him say I hope. I thought he
Yeah.
said reboot.
No,
trying to
he's saying
start
he was hoping he would reboot.
over.
I just thought that was kind of funny in a dumb way.
Okay.
I wrote music. Director doesn't understand how music works in movies.
Yeah, at multiple times I'm like, why is it dead quiet? Like the thing needed a score bad.
Yeah. It just starts playing loud, I guess, heavy metal
Yeah.
of some type songs that sort of have something to do with the dead or being dead or evil
Right.
or whatever.
I looked at
But
the credits. The band's name was Dead at 5, I
there's
think.
2 bands in the credits. Reverent Sky Metal and Dead in 5.
Okay.
Because I wrote closing credit music pipes it pipes Amazing Grace. But then it said in the music part of the credits that it's the Reverend Sky metal arrangement of Amazing Grace. And yeah, all the songs were either by Reverend Sky or Dead in 5. I did not bother looking them up. I'm assuming the producer director is like friends with both these
absolutely.
bands or something. But yeah, it was just there's action happening, so we turn on the loud music, but it's not really accenting or underlining the action. It's not necessarily matching what's happening. It's just
Right.
we need loud music because of fighting happening, and then no music at all when there's no fighting happening.
Yeah, and even just like, a droning piano chord. The do,
Yeah.
do, something. There were too many spots where, it was just dead silence, which made it seem even longer. There was no pacing. There was no...
Our parents were just watching Deadpool. And in those movies, they like to, contrast the music with the action that's happening.
Right.
And you see that in a lot of movies, but that's just what jumped into my head. And it makes for an interesting scene.
Right. I'm going to have this pretty love song from the 80s while people are killing each other.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
somehow it works out.
Right. None of that. Nothing
No.
as subtle as that. Just blah, 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 blah. I wrote down brains, ? I think there was...
One of the girls at one point said, I want to eat your brains or something.
Yeah, one of the zombies spoke and said, I want to eat your brains. I wrote, franchise is a real piece of shit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why he would want to agree to that script. Because he never got any sort of redeeming...
No. And he
He
doesn't-
felt bad about his nephew being a zombie, but he still
Right.
broke his neck.
Yeah, but he ends up dead.
He does end up dead.
And so Piper is the hero at the end? Or the survivor?
And the girl,
final
Sarah,
girl?
who was a tramp who just wanted to...
Yeah.
Hey, sexual liberation, sure. If she enjoys getting off with guys, fine, whatever. I'm not kink
Right, but he
shaming
just
or
made-
anything. It was just pointless.
Yeah, it made no sense.
And then if she's going to end up with Roddy Piper at the end, it should mean something. So if she turned down the first guy and turned
Right.
down the second guy, she must really like him. It didn't mean...
It just kept...
she was hooking up with everyone,
It just
so
looked
it
like...
didn't matter.
It so much looked like she was up to something, and she was up to nothing.
Right.
And she was also the only other survivor. So out of all these wrestlers, this person that we've never heard of is the one swinging a sword around and killing zombies left and right next to Piper.
Right.
And I'm just like, who is this? The director's girlfriend? He's trying to
Right.
give her a big movie career or something.
Sure.
I mean, she was fine. She did a fine job.
Yeah, she was second best.
But yeah, because she might have, because I guess she's some kind of actress and not just a wrestler.
Right. Though they kept giving her some wrestling moves, so I don't know if
Yeah.
she was aspiring to be. I mean, none of the acting was terrible. There was just nothing to work with.
Yeah,
The script is the biggest hole
Yep.
in this. I would say the biggest problem.
Yeah.
I mean, at no point was I like, wow, these guys are great. But it wasn't painful watching most of the
Well,
performances.
we've said this multiple times throughout the season that really the script is the most important thing.
Yeah.
If the effects can be great or they can be lame, the acting can be great or it can be, but if the script itself is bad, it's not gonna. None of the rest of that's gonna matter.
Right. And then I would say editing and the pacing.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of times with the smashing in the zombies' heads and stuff like that. You know, like in Psycho, we never see her get stabbed with a knife. Right, in the shower scene?
Yeah.
But when people first saw that, they swore that they saw her get stabbed.
Yeah.
because it was edited so well
Same thing with
that it tricked you into thinking that she was.
Same thing with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. People think they see the meat hook go into the woman and even come out of her on the other side, and
Right.
they don't see that at all.
Yeah, and the editing on this was all just slightly off, which if your shots aren't designed to be edited properly, then
Yeah.
there's only so much you can do.
Yeah.
Because there was lots of bad angles where it was just like even one of the final scenes when Roddy Piper's talking to the guy, and it's like this really low shot on Piper, but a regular shot on the other guy. So then it just doesn't even look like they're in the same place at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really didn't like when they were on the mountain and there's like 100 zombies chasing them.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden they're hiding by a tree and they're okay. And then it's like, okay, let me go look for a path out of here. You wait here? That's some dumbass shit. Don't do that. Stay together.
Yeah.
Because if you find a path, then you're on the path. You're not going back
Right.
to get the girl to come back to the path, which may not be a path anymore.
Yeah. I don't know who Cody Knotts is. I guess he's some kind of wannabe wrestling promoter
I
or
don't know.
something, but he's clearly not a director who's gone to film school and knows anything about making movies.
I mean, that's the problem. He knew enough.
He knew enough to get it made.
Right. And I mean, I say it's incoherent. It wasn't complete. There was a story.
Yeah.
It did follow that story. But yeah, just like with the locations bugged me so bad because it was like, well, clearly we're still in the prison, but there's no
Yeah.
concept of where I've seen, and I guess that has to do with pacing too, because they would like get to a halt, close the door, all kind of fight and talk a little bit. Oh, zombies get in, get to another room. There was no like end goal
Yeah.
of where they were trying, oh, if we can get to the, engineering room, we can shut off
Right.
the power. We can
close-
trap them in this,
Well,
usually
that's
in those kind of things, there should be,
Right.
even let's get outside.
Yeah. Well, in
But
a
it wasn't.
prison,
It was just, we're just running.
there could have been stuff about the fact that we're in a prison. There's usually doors that can be shut remotely. So if we could have gotten to wherever that room is.
Right, the engineering control room, main prison outpost.
Yeah. Just the other note I have is
I mean, it's a pretty dumb premise to begin with, but there was potential.
yeah.
Like I remember starting Strippers versus Zombies, which is kind of basically the same. Mm-hmm. I think they're at a strip club and the zombie thing happens, right? I don't know where I was going with that, but it just seems similar. That didn't seem to be as big of a failure as this. And then, oh my God, when they're arguing about the guy being dead and if it was on purpose or not, it sounds like Roddy Piper, who's supposed to be friends with this guy, had no idea that this had happened 6 weeks earlier. Right? Those kind of like, what?
Yeah.
He died in the ring? Wrestling is a small enough subculture, especially like the indie circuit. Even back in 2013,
Yeah.
if somebody died in a ring,
Yeah. Everybody.
all the other wrestlers are going to know about it.
Yeah.
You know
Was
what
he
I
out
mean?
of the country or something? Was he? Well, he doesn't have a
Right.
phone. He doesn't have a phone.
Okay. Well, I guess that
Doesn't
kind
have
of.
a phone.
But they see each other and it doesn't come up at any point.
Yeah. I don't know.
Like it just, I don't know.
So another note I have is pipes for Piper.
Yeah. When he starts fighting, they put it.
And then a quote, first time I ever had the pencil.
I have no idea what the hell that meant.
Okay.
It
He
definitely
literally
was-
has a pencil at some point, but I'm not clear.
Yeah, which is weird because like I've seen the documentary on him. Apparently he would have notepads that he was always writing
Piper?
promos in.
Okay.
Shit to save the other wrestlers. He
Oh,
would write
okay.
them down all the time.
Uh-huh.
So that made no sense to me. I'm sure it was some sort of inside wrestling joke from just a different era that I missed. The coconut, when he was in the kitchen, did you see the coconut?
I think so. I don't remember.
He picked up a coconut and smashed the zombie with it.
Okay.
That was a reference to when he was in a feud with Jimmy Superfly Snuka. It was a controversial, if there was like top 10 WWE controversial moments, whatever. He hit him in the head with coconut.
Okay.
Coconut's a
Yeah.
freaking hard.
Yeah, yeah. You got to break him open with a rock.
Right, and they hadn't gimmicked it or anything. To where, it's cut, so it's going to break.
Right.
No, he just smashed him. Like, he had a concussion. He was hurt for a while from it. It may have caused some permanent damage to him. It was bad. Yeah. I mean, it was in the 80s or 90s. There was a lot less rules, and, there definitely wasn't any sort of HR or, safety coordinator on set, So that was clearly a direct reference to the Snuka incident.
Right.
So that's what makes me think the pencil was. A wooden pencil's going to keep this door closed?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, pencils aren't that strong?
No.
Yeah, I'm curious now. I may do a search later. I don't know. I don't want to give this any more effort.
No, don't.
Or energy.
Don't. What we should do is just go watch They Live to.
Right. Well, I'm going to definitely watch Monday Night Raw and clean my wrestling palate.
Oof. There was something. Where'd it go?
Future you faces some big expectations. Work out more, go to bed earlier, and most importantly, make smart money decisions. Thankfully, today you has Bank of America. One place with tools and guidance to help balance tasks from budgeting to saving. So you can just be you with big plans. Do more with a bank that asks, what would you like the power to do? Explore our tips and more at bankofamerica.com/futureyou.
Overnight, Dunkin's Pumpkin Spice Coffee has sent folks into a cozy craze. I'm Lauren LaTulip reporting live from home in my hand-knit turtleneck that my Nana made me. Cinnamony.
The home with Dunkin' is where you want to be.
There was something I just... Oh, here it is. Okay. So when I was looking this up on Google to get to the Wikipedia page, it says, see also Wrestle Massacre.
Okay.
Is some movie. And then Manson Brothers? I'm guessing the wrestlers. And WrestleManiac. And something called Monster Brawl. These are other things it's recommending since I looked up this movie.
That are monster and wrestling combined?
Monster Brawl might be. Yes, this is the monsters wrestling each other. Cyclops, Swamp Gut, Frankenstein's monster, Lady Vampire, This sounds like it's just a monsters wrestling each other from 2011.
Yeah, that sounds pretty awful also.
It probably is. Judas Priest. So, Gabriel, how many brains?
Man, I'm giving... Because of the one scene with Piper and Duggan. There was a great scene.
Yeah.
Beautiful. They did everything a scene needed to do.
Yep.
I don't think there was even any words. He didn't even need words. Because of that, I'll give it one brain.
Yeah, the one brain just for Piper.
Just for Rowdy
scene,
Piper.
And that scene.
And, I mean, Shane Douglas wasn't bad, but he just...
I just hated him.
Right.
I wanted him to die.
The character, not necessarily the actor.
The character he was playing, I hated. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know anything about the person as a person.
Oh yeah, but he wasn't the writer.
I didn't. Right, but I even though they tried to create some sympathy by showing him interacting with his family,
right,
that failed. I still hated him.
It did. It didn't matter that he tried to save the cat from the tree.
Yeah. He's nice to his nephew.
Right.
And oh no, his nephew got turned into a zombie.
No, I absolutely did not care about the character in any way. I mean, the actor did an okay job, but he had nothing.
Yeah.
Hey, come be this asshole that's still going to be an asshole, but I felt like we were supposed to like him.
I have no idea. Because he doesn't make it to the end.
Right. Yeah, but you could like characters that don't make it to the end.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying he's clearly not actually the hero or even the protagonist. He's just the instigating incident. And
yeah, but you can be the hero and die.
But not partway through.
No, he was all the way to the last 3 minutes.
Oh, was he?
Minutes.
I don't remember. I just thought it was so weird that partway through the movie it clearly turns into Roddy Piper's movie.
Right. No, I agree with that.
And they should have just planned that from the beginning.
Yes, absolutely. I don't know.
Which kind of seems like it was done on the fly. Because when I was looking at
I definitely feel like maybe they oh, we were going to shoot later, but this is when the actors...
Well,
Roddy's only available during this month, so we got to shoot now, even though we're not ready.
when I was looking at the Kickstarter page, because those things will stay up there after the
Right.
After the thing is done, it was like, here's the wrestlers. These are people we have on board, and also we've got some interest from Roddy Piper and Richard Pryor Jr.
I don't know.
Who did not
I
end up...
noticed one of the characters' name was someone Rodman, and during it I kept thinking, is that Dennis Rodman? Well, he did wrestling for a while.
Oh, right, but it was not.
Like I remember watching the Bulls documentary. It was like during their season when they're having like their, Michael Jordan, Pippen championship season. He's off doing wrestling shows in the middle of it. Mm-hmm. It's insane.
Richard Pryor Jr. is an actor and writer,
Mm-hmm.
so I guess he expressed some interest, but then said, no, that's okay.
I don't know where the hell they would have put him.
Yeah.
I mean, if he was if they're using him because he's Richard Pryor's son, I would assume it's for comic relief. I mean, maybe not. You can be a dramatic actor just because your father wasn't, but...
Yeah.
Nowhere in there did I mean, I guess they tried having some comic relief, but it wasn't
Right.
really working.
Well, my point is that he may have already been working on a script before he knew that Piper was going to agree to be in it.
Right.
So then he just added stuff and did just change course halfway through
Sure.
because,
Yeah,
Piper's here, so...
I guess we should make him the star now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just seemed weird. There was no reason. I mean, people in tragic situations often get in relationships, when there's the trauma.
Yeah.
So I get, I guess, her and Piper hooking up at the end and, oh, we made it out alive. Okay, let's embrace and kiss. But it just, Again, because earlier it seemed like he was being its father figure to her.
Yeah.
So it just seemed weird and creepy.
It was just shoehorned
and it just
in.
was unnecessary.
It was just like, it's the end of the movie. I guess we got to have a kiss now.
Right. And it could have, him continuing to just, hey, we made it out alive. I felt no extra satisfaction that they, they're together now. As if through the whole thing it was, will they, won't they?
Yeah.
It was, she'll hook up with anyone, but right now they're fighting a bunch of zombies, so they don't have time.
Yeah. It was, okay. So it's one brain from each of us.
I do not recommend it, unless you're missing Roddy Piper.
Yeah, don't watch it.
God rest his soul.
Go watch They Live Instead.
Right. Or Frogtown.
Hell Comes to Frogtown.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it, folks. Thanks for joining us. Thank you, Gabriel, for suffering through that.
Yeah, you're not welcome. That was terrible. That hurt.
If for some god-awful reason you want to watch this movie, it's on Peacock and on a bunch of the other stuff.
They have a bunch of wrestling stuff now because they have the WWE pay-per-views.
But I think it's on all the other things too. Okay. But if you watch it on Peacock, they'll show the ads up front. So you might want commercials in this movie to give you a little bit of a breather. Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us, folks. We're almost at the end here. Got one day left, and then we'll be back to our regular schedule. Until then, I've been Precious D. With me has been Gabriel.
Happy Halloween. I'll see y'all, or you'll hear me next year around this time, if not sooner.
Remember to keep calm and take shelter in basements. Please don't misuse science. We won't see you, but you will hear us next time on Monster Movie Fun Time Go. You've been listening to Monster Movie Fun Time Go. If you enjoyed the show, please consider rating and reviewing us on your podcasting platform of choice. You can leave us a message and find links to all our things at mmftg.com.